No matter where you work, there is one thing we're all feeling a lot more since March 2020: burnout.
This grind culture is grinding us all to the ground.
I think this is actually one of the great challenges and crises of our time, loneliness and connection.
I don't know anyone that's cracked the code on burnout. It's hard to unpack and know where to start because it is so entangled with how our society operates at a much more meta level.
Teachers weren't really given extra resources other than like, you have a Zoom now and all your kids are getting iPads. And so that's for the people who did get iPads, right? Like there wasn't like here's how best to engage kids in this way.
That's my friends, Tiffany Gray, Smiley Poswolsky, Clara Kennedy, and Ann Griffin. And they are right. You aren't alone in how you feel right now. Like you, I'm finding myself more tired than usual. My hours and workload stretched as I work from home. While I'm loving how much I could create and do while skipping all the long commute and airport waiting time, I've also noticed how many lunch breaks I miss and my weekends blurring into an extended weekday. Still, I'm loving what I do, and I've noticed how I'm taking more initiative than before in how I structure, communicate, and lead to support my team and community's well being. And I'm not alone. While burnout has risen, more people are also happy and feeling appreciated at work. A global survey of more than 9 million people conducted by Glint, a human resource platform owned by LinkedIn, also says employee happiness is up 5.4% from December 2019 to December 2020. Could it be possible that this pandemic finally taught us how we can and should reimagine well-being in the workplace? Hi, welcome to Dear Workplace by InnovatorsBox, where I study trends, changes, and challenges with people at work. I'm your host, Monica Kang, and in this episode, I want to study burnout and how we reimagine well-being at work. Let's take a step back. Did you know we were in a burnout epidemic before COVID-19? Burnout is a prolonged or chronic stress at work that leaves us feeling fatigued, overwhelmed, and exhausted. It was first coined in the 1970s by the German-American psychologist Herbert J. Freudenberg because he saw a problem among the helping professionals, such as doctors, nurses, and himself as a therapist. People started to use it to describe the challenges of self-sacrificing professions that serve others. Then, May 2019 came. The World Health Organization declared in May 2019 to include burnout in the 11th revision of the International Classification of the Disease, ICD-11, as an occupational phenomenon. While WHO has not classified burnout as a medical condition, this decision was huge. For many experts like myself in the workplace, as it finally became a wake-up call for many employers to finally address the long-ignored stigma. Burnout is a huge workplace problem, and we must proactively address it. But how?
So for me, the burnout is just like looking at your plate and seeing what's draining you, what's not giving you joy, what feels like an obligation.
That's Avani Parekh, a strategic partner manager, community partners at Facebook, and a dear friend of mine. She is one of the most empathetic and global-minded community leaders I met, and she shared with me a story how recent events made her rethink about burnout and well-being. Her nickname is the Empathy Hacker.
So Monica alluded to a community that I used to run called A Group of People Telling You that It Will Be Okay. Started in the wake of COVID because I was feeling lonely, and I realized that lots of people around me were just like dealing with things, light mental health type things where we didn't feel connected, like we weren't getting that dose, right? Our batteries weren't recharging.
I was part of that group too. And as we woke up each day in uncertainty, especially in 2020, I found it soothing to know that I was not alone. Then, October 10, 2020, World Mental Health Day came. Facebook, in support of mental health, had recommended a few actively growing Facebook groups that advocated for mental health support, and Avani's group that she had fostered on her own grew, and I mean grew, really big, really fast.
The group was literally 750 people that I kind of knew that were loose ties to me and some of my friends, and it grew to like 6,000 and then sort of started steadily growing. It was a very difficult transition to have a community explode like that.
Wait, but isn't growth a good thing? We always want more followers, more members, more everything.
Be careful what you wish for, because we want things to grow and we want to help people, but in that moment, so many people came into the community that were really hurting and that actually had significant mental health issues. And so for about 3-4 months, immediately put a team together, and a few of us were sort of navigating around how to create care. I think we got a good cadence with the community. And then I realized I'm in a moment in my life where I want to step away. I've been doing this community thing for a really long time. And in checking with myself, I realized I was having anxiety around signing on to Facebook and seeing another post of somebody who was hurting.
I understand this weight Avani shares because I too unfollowed the group right around this time. I noticed how the group got very heavy very fast, with folks sharing images and stories of how they were facing depression, suicide, and as a friend, I also saw how this was having a toll on Avani as a community leader. Even before this project, she was already working around the clock, and with the messages of help coming from all over the world, every minute she was reaching a point of anxiety that needed attention. And so, I didn't realize this is what she had done, which is really courageous.
So over the holidays, I decided to archive the group after sort of leaving a message and saying, we're going to be taking some time off as admins to recharge. I haven't unarchived the Facebook group, and I'm not sure if I will at some point in time. I might, but in this moment right now, I was realizing that if it's not giving me joy, then it's not worth doing. I was really checking myself here because I see myself as a helper and a counselor and someone who runs communities. So what does it mean if I can't do it? And, all of that. I had all of those questions, but I have no regrets about stepping away. And that was a hard decision because it bucked up against my ego and my identity and how I see myself. But I see now that I'm making the space to show up in a different way, and that's also important.
I asked her how she feels now as a result of this.
I just feel so much calmer. I feel so centered.
That's powerful, because how often are we overworking in the sake of serving others and forgetting that we are a key stakeholder in that process too? Avani's story warmed my heart and humbled me that the bigger the capacity you have as a leader, the more important it is to show how you step back. Also, to encourage others how they can tackle burnout too.
We need to make mental health more affordable and accessible to all, so that it's not just something that only super wealthy or super privileged people can take advantage of, because I think that having access to mental health resources is vital and crucial, not just in a pandemic, but all of the time.
That's my friend Smiley Poswolsky, an author and international keynote speaker in San Francisco who tackles workplace belonging and generational gaps. Mental well-being is something he thinks a lot about, as he's just completed his 3rd book, Friendship in the Age of Loneliness, where he studies how as we age, we become more lonely and have difficulty making friends.
The data shows this: 60% of Americans feel lonely. The average American hasn't made a new friend in the last 5 years. And there's data that has the statistics as even worse in other countries. In Japan, it's much more stark in terms of loneliness and people not having friendships and people feeling very, very either lonely or socially isolated. So this is not going away.
And he's absolutely right. The WHO already declared burnout a problem before the pandemic. And while we're all still figuring out what COVID-19 provided was leveling the field and finally have everyone realize this is a problem and has always been. And we must urgently address this with deep care.
The premium on the employee experience has never been higher. People expect to have a good experience working for you.
That's my friend, Claire Kennedy, a vice president, people operations at Axios, a fast-growing media company delivering vital news with smart brevity. She is someone who really understands why employee development is crucial to your company's health. It's more than just hiring and doing training. I speak more about this importance of people operations and HR expert roles like herself at Curious Monica, my other show, where I study how different people thrive at work. But here, I want to highlight what she shared how we tackle burnout on a company scale. Even without the pandemic, she was busy. Journalism works around the clock, and her team has been growing super fast. And the pandemic only meant they had more audience to get more smart news faster. Is it possible to be a happy workplace without burnout? I knew Claire would have some insights to share. Axios was at the end of the day recognized as one of the best company culture in 2020, among other top companies around the world. What's the secret? I asked Claire.
Burnout is a tricky thing. We are currently batting around a bunch of ideas of new and innovative things we can try and do for our folks, whether it's days of the month that the entire company takes off. There's a lot of things that companies do that I do think help when they add up. But the topic of burnout is a fascinating one, and everyone is struggling with figuring that one out.
Wait, so the secret is there isn't one solution?
I actually want to ask you the question too, as you're talking to other great HR professionals. I'm certainly having plenty of conversations where people are, again, A/B testing different things, but encouraging people to take time off, being very intentional about the business practices you're establishing on Slack and text, helping people draw boundaries. And then, as always, leadership needs to set an example of whatever you do.
Oh, so the answer is well-being has to be well-rounded. It's not just one training. It's not just one policy. It's about everything. And it starts from leadership. How do we make employee well-being and experience better?
People are going to have a massive amount of flexibility. I don't see any organization able to come out of this and say, okay, now we need to revert back to the way we did things. It's just not going to be the case.
True. The way things were before wasn't good enough. But what I hope you hear today here is hope. The optimism in me is that this pandemic is finally being the wake-up call for many leaders and individuals to realize how important our well-being is. It's important we take care of ourselves, take care of our people, and rethink how we design our work experience to embed care in everything we do. Now, I may be biased as somebody who helps companies build happy workplaces on this, but I truly believe that more of us can walk away from this pandemic happier. It's just that we have to choose to prioritize well-being and really use this time to learn from it. Maybe that's when we'll be able to picture what a workplace without burnout may look like. Thank you for listening to Dear Workplace by InnovatorsBox. I'm your host and director of this show, Monica Kang. If you enjoyed today's show, I would love for you to subscribe, rate, and review on all your favorite podcast platforms.
Oh hey, I'm Sarah No, a creative producer at InnovatorsBox, and I hope you're enjoying Dear Workplace. Ever since the world completely shifted, I've been living out the motto, your life is what you make it. Fun fact, I've been actively learning French through podcasts and Netflix shows. Mais oui. This show is brought together by our awesome team, producer Saren O, audio engineers Sam Lammert and Ravi Ladd, Kelly Gravo on marketing, website designer Akriti Pandy, graphic designer Monica Escobar, and Luke Helder on music. And of course, Dear Workplace is hosted and directed by Monica Kang, founder and CEO of InnovatorsBox. To continue the conversation of reimagining the workplace, visit us at innovatorsbox.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share. We'd love to hear what you enjoy, and I got you. Let me know what you want to hear next, and I'll convince Monica to talk about it in our next episodes. See you next week.
Next, I'll study how the way we buy and hire has changed and why more brands should care about it. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you soon. Yours truly,